Mason call Auburn 247. With Tate out, you got Jaleel.
Yeah.
And you guys mixed and matched a little bit on the offensive line Saturday. Just is that kind of the plan? Just kind of look at that throughout the week.
It is right now. Yeah, and what we'll have to do, Jaleel came in and played. It was unfortunate, too. It was just what happened to Tate, kind of on a scramble right there, and the guy just hit his elbow. That happens. And so he got banged up pretty good, obviously. But Jaleel, and then we'll move some guys around. We'll take a look at it. Avery Jernigan has also played center for us, so we got to figure that out with the best five and what that's going to look like. And, there might be some rotation in there. But that'll be, what we do come Tuesday and Wednesday, and just really try to sort that out and figure it out by Thursday so we can get really quality reps, on that final practice on Friday before we go into the game.
Justin Ferguson, Auburn Observer. Coy had a big game for you guys
on
Saturday. Just how much did that mean for the offense to see him kind of step up and moving forward with, kind of his role in the wide receiver room?
Yeah, he did a really good job. So we had a little trick play, and they had it covered. He made something happen with it, right? So, and it was good on his end, all right, just to go create something, but also take care of the football. I mean, he's a really smart player. That's the one thing. That's why we put him in those positions. He's really smart, and it was good to see him get the ball in his hands and do some things. Robbie had one. It was a little boot. Guy got in his face, and he threw it low, and Coy had a great catch on it, made something happen, had a great catch on the fade ball on our sideline. So, he's a guy we got to continue to keep getting going, but I liked his attitude in the game, a lot of energy, wanted the ball in his hands. Just that mentality was big for us, especially in that game. So we'll keep building on that because he's a good player. And I think what we saw, we can do some more things to try to get him in the mix. We had a couple young players. Omari got the ball in his hands. Camden got the ball in his hands. So we had a few things at the wide receiver position that was good. We need to do more of that, all right, and use those guys. And we're trying to do those things, but it was good to see Coy have his opportunity.
Brian, I hope you're doing well today.
I am. How are you doing?
I'm good, man.
Good.
Late workout, looking over
All
here.
right.
Anyway, through 4 games, how would you assess where your offense is, and if there's things to improve on, how do you improve on those things?
Yeah, there's plenty to improve on. I think, number one, just the situational stuff, and really let's go back to turnovers. So we were plus in the last game. That was big. I was proud of our defense. We didn't turn the ball over on offense. That was something that we had talked about, all year. And certainly leading into the season and certainly through the season, we've talked about the takeaways. But number one, continue on that trend. Take care of the football. All right. Number two, in the situations, right, we got to be better. Some of those third downs, that's one of the situations I'm talking about. Red zone's been decent, but like really our third downs, we want to be better in those areas. And then balance it out, run and pass. You'd like to be able to do that better. So, those are the challenges every week that we have. We're trying to continue to work on that. I think our guys know that. So if we can get some of the pass game, run game going and balance that out a little bit more, that'll help us.
Brian, what's TJ's status for Saturday? Do you expect him to be practicing?
Yeah, I do. He'll practice this week. And expect those guys to be out there. So, we'll see how the week goes.
So going off of that with Robbie, his first start, how you kind of assess it going back and watching how he did and how he kind of managed some of the things, especially with his scrambling ability.
Yeah, I thought Robbie managed things well. I really do. I thought under the circumstances, go back and watch the film, he did a good job. I think he made some good decisions for us. We took care of the football. And, I know he was really excited about having an opportunity to go out there and start and play, and then, as he should. And he played well, and he utilized his legs. He made some good throws at times. Overall, and I thought his demeanor on the sideline, attitude, approach, everything going into the week was really, really good. So I like where he was at. All right, going into the game, I like where he was at after the game. I know he was emotional, and it was a big game for him. And so that's something to build on going into this week, right? He's got that experience to go out there and actually start and play. He's been playing, but to start and play and to really have the whole week of repping the game plan, we can build on that. So we'll see what that looks like going into this week.
Brian Stahl's Auburn rivals. Keontae has the potential to be explosive on punt returns, but it seems like he lets the ball bounce a lot when he could catch it. Is that something that he's working on and you guys are working on with him?
He can definitely be explosive, and he really is. He's one of those guys that can go. I think we all see that. And in the last game, the sun was a factor as well. That became a factor. And I think we had put him in a spot. I think we had him too deep on one of them. We thought that we obviously thought very highly of their punter, and he didn't get a hold of it like we thought. So we had him a little bit deeper, and he came up and made a decent decision on it. So that's not his fault. We got to put him in a better position there. But overall, he can catch it. He can make guys miss. He can do a lot of really good things. We got to help him. We got to get the other 10 guys on punt return to help him out there. But we did let the ball bounce. There was one, and that's where he lost it in the sun, and the ball bounced. And that's one of the things, when you let that happen, you're going to lose. And this goes back a lot of years. I mean, on average, you're going to lose about 15 yards of field position, when you do that. And then the ball kicks like it did. So we want to catch every single ball we can. He knows that. I don't think the sun's going to be a factor going into this game, but that's stuff we're working on every single week.
Ryan, you talked about Robbie and how beneficial it is for him to have a starter. How beneficial is it for a coaching staff to have now watched a guy go through a start, and now where you can start to tweak things maybe a little bit towards what
Yeah, absolutely. No, it was good. It was good because you get to see every single play. All right, I know Holden came in there. Robbie had to go out for a couple drives. Holden came in. But to see Robbie go through it, and good and bad, right? I mean, all of it. That's really what it comes down to. You get to see all of it. You get to see the good and the bad, and so you're able to tweak throughout the week on those things. And for him as well, he went back and he studied the film from the game. He knows what he did well, what he has to work on, and so now you can build from that going into this week. And that's the plan right now, is to take what we learned in the last game, apply it to this week, and then keep building on some of the positive things we did, and then try to really correct some of those negatives that we know we can be better at, and make sure that happens going into this game.
Something to do with last night, biasfootball.al.com. When you look at your offensive line, you mentioned Tate being on, obviously you lost Bronson earlier. How do you, figure it out when considering what you're trying to do with the run game? Because initially you're saying how you wanted to leave with the
Yes. Yeah. How do you figure what out? What exactly do you – there's a lot in there, yeah.
I guess what I'm saying is, how do you figure out how to, improve on the run game and protection and so on and so forth?
Sure. Well, a lot of that comes back to, all right, what are we doing? All right, so let's look at what we're doing first. All right, and what is the defense doing? Are we putting our guys in the best position to be successful? All right, so do we have the right scheme, and are we fitting it correctly? We put them on the right guys, and then it's a fundamental thing, right? Blocking. It comes back to that. Are we doing things with our techniques to teach the blocking the way we need to? All right, are we drilling that stuff? So and each opponent's different, right? Every D line we face, every linebacker that blitzes, they're all a little bit different. They're all built differently. I think they bring different traits to the table, and that's really what you're preparing for is all these different variables. But at the end of the day, you got to have your man, so we got to put him in the right spot where we got him matched up on the right people, and then we got to work on the fundamentals of the blocking, and then we got to work on the techniques to get that done against that particular opponent. That's really what happens each and every week. So it's a work in progress. We want to be better. I know we all do. And so as coaches, scheme, drills, techniques, we got to coach it. We got to prepare them. We got to get those guys ready. We got to execute it. All those things have to happen. And that's why every single week you go back to work. We go back to doing those same drills, or if it's not working, we go back to doing something else that's going to be better for us, all right, on the practice field to get us in a position where we go out there and actually play. We've improved in those areas. And I know we can. I've seen it from our guys. I've seen it. I've seen where, we can create opportunities in the run game. I've seen the protection be really, really good. We just got to be consistent with that. And that's what we're doing right now, putting together those plans so that we can coach that we can get the guys in the right spots, give them a chance to be successful. And, that's on our coaching staff right now. And then we got to go out there and execute it throughout the week to have confidence in it come Saturday.
Yes, Brian Matthews, AuburnSports.com. Brian, have you looked at some issues you had after halftime offensively as far as the running game, third downs and such over the last 5 or 6 Power 5 opponents?
Sure.
How to address that?
Yeah, well, it's I wouldn't say it's the same thing, but yeah, we've looked at that. The second half in those areas, we got to be better. That's an obvious statement there. What are the reasons behind that? I think both sides adjust a little bit. So, it comes back to, we got to make some better adjustments. And I also think, there's opportunities there that we've left on the field, and we've got to have confidence in that. We've got to be able to come back to some things that work for us too. We know that. So, it's not just one thing in particular. It's, as you go back and watch a game, right, we should have came back to this. We should have done that. We could have coached that up better. This was a bad scheme. We put some things in. And we've done some stuff also where we made adjustments that were really good. So it's that balance. And, we don't want to come out in the second half and not be more productive. That's the goal that you want to have at halftime, is you kind of know what they're doing. You know where you're at. You got to make some of those adjustments and then get some of your best plays and the ball in your best players' hands in the second half. And, we're still a work in progress there, but that's a focus that we want to get better at.
Mark Murphy, inside Auburn Tigers. How did Holden do for the first time in a college game? And he was 14th quarterback a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
Something happened to him. Was Trey Lindsey the next guy up? And what can you say?
Yeah, no, not necessarily, but I'll stick with Holden. Really he was good. I mean, he didn't look that productive when he was out there, but he came off the sideline, and really for him it's like, hey, just settle in and play ball. But you can imagine running out there, right? He can practice a certain way. You can do all these things. You can have a great demeanor, but when you run on the field, it doesn't matter who you are. For the first time, all right, the juices are flowing, and he's only going to get better for it. He's still going to be a guy that we're going to keep in the mix, and we'll see how he operates this week. I thought he was really good last week. I thought his preparation. And here's a guy, right? You walk in the building on Monday, he's sitting in the coach's offices studying film. So he has those qualities, all right? The execution piece, playing that position, the experience, all that stuff's going to come. But as far as his approach, his attitude, like what you want is in a guy that's going to prepare to play that position, he's got it. So he's only going to get better. And, he kind of came into a tough situation as well, thrown right in there. And it was good Robbie was able to come back. But he'll have himself prepared this week. I think he's got a better idea of what he needs to do, all right, going into this game. So if he's thrown back in there again, he's ready to go out there and execute the plays and do his job. So I'm excited for him. I think he is too. Got a little taste, and because of that, it'll be in a better week for him.
Jason?
Ron, what have you seen from this LSU defense over the course of the season, especially
Yeah.
P.J. Ojulari outside?
Yeah, they're really good. I think the things they're doing just up front, I think the front seven's really good. Now, they got two guys in the back end, they're returning starters. They got two guys up front. But the things they're doing, just schematically, I think they're doing a really good job. I think their players play really hard. I think they play physical. I think they're fast. I don't see a lot of holes in their defense. I think they're just well coached, and it seems like the guys know what they're doing, and they're getting to the football, and they're playing hard each and every down. So, to me, that's the challenge, right? When you see that on film, you got good players playing hard, and they're doing the right things. So, to me, I'm impressed with them, and our job is to figure out how we go out there and find some weaknesses somehow, some way to go take advantage of it.
Anything else? Thoughts?
Bryan, how would you assess, you guys were doing a two-quarterback thing, how would you assess how it went? And then, assuming Finley can play, would that be something you go back to?
Yeah, well, we'll see. It's a new week, and under the circumstances, I think that was, part of our plan, right? And this last week, that was not part of the plan. So as the season goes on, things change, and unfortunately, things happen, right? Guys aren't able to play. Some things happen, and you got to tweak and change, and that's the beauty of the season, right? You're always adjusting things because you're dealing with people, and this last week was different. Now looking at it, there was plenty of things in there that we can be better at, but there were some really positive things we took away from it too, even just the week of preparation leading into it. So I think we did what we needed to do early on, and we'll see what that looks like going into this week. But we know both models. We've seen them now in 4 games. So, now it's a chance for us to go out there and see what we want to do this week and what fits best for LSU.